Real estate purchase agreement details. A purchase agreement in real estate is an agreement between a buyer who wants to buy a home or other piece of real property and a seller who wants to sell it. Moreover, a buyer typically proposes a real estate purchase agreement, subject to the seller's acceptance of the conditions. A real estate purchase agreement deal does not transfer a home, building, or land title. Instead, it establishes a framework for each party's rights and responsibilities before the official transfer of title. Real estate purchase agreement details. A simple purchase agreement for real estate will identify the following essential elements: buyer and seller information, the parties to the contract's full names and contact information. Property information, the address of the property as well as a legal description of the land to pinpoint its exact position. A licensed surveyor will usually create a legal description of the land in metes and bounds. Purchase price, the overall cost of the property, including all deposits and modifications. Warranties and representations, the seller will make specific facts and promises about the buyer's property to complete the purchase. Will the buyer use third-party financing or seller financing to finance their purchase, or will the buyer accept the seller's existing mortgage? Contingencies, any actions or conditions that must be fulfilled for the contract to be fulfilled. Title insurance, in most cases, one party is responsible for getting title insurance in the buyer's name. Title insurance is a type of insurance that protects the loss of value in a property due to potential title flaws being discovered. Dispute resolution, many contracts include a mandatory or optional dispute resolution clause that outlines how the parties should address their disagreements. Mediation, arbitration, or going via the courts are all options. Option to terminate. A clause allows a buyer to cancel a purchase agreement up to a certain point before the closing date. Inspection. Within a specific time frame, the buyer has the right to inspect the property. This agreement is also known as real estate contract. Moreover, residential real estate purchase agreement. Agreement to purchase real estate. Standard terms used in this agreement. Earnest money deposit. An earnest money deposit is a payment made by a buyer to demonstrate their willingness to proceed with the purchase of a property. Moreover, the seller removes the property from the market in exchange for an earnest money deposit from the buyer. The earnest money deposit to the purchase price at the time of closing. The earnest money deposit is usually to the buyer if the contract is according to the conditions of the agreement. A contingency is a requirement that must complete for the acquisition to go through. If the contingency is not met, the buyer has the option to cancel the contract and not complete the transaction. Moreover, the following are some instances of common contract contingencies. Inspection contingency allows a buyer to inspect the property before closing to verify no significant flaws that would detract from the property's pleasure or value. If the property has a significant flaw and the seller fails to fix it. Financing contingency, this allows a buyer to cancel the contract and receive a refund of their earnest money deposit if they cannot acquire a loan or mortgage after making a reasonable faith effort. Read more. The following is a general summary of the home buying process. Genuine property purchase agreement process. Buyer-seller. Listing. Buyer goes to open houses in search of the perfect house. Seller lists its house for sale. Offer to purchase. Buyer makes an offer to seller. Seller can accept or counteroffer. Final agreement executed. Buyer and seller agree on and finalize the purchase agreement. Buyer and seller agree on and finalize the purchase agreement. Moreover, escrow opened and buyer deposits earnest money. Buyer completes inspections, reviews title. Seller makes agreed upon repairs, purchases title insurance. Loan. Buyer starts loan process. Lender, third party, or seller agrees to fund. Closing. Buyer pays remaining balance. Seller moves out of home and finalizes the transfer of title. Delivery. Buyer gets keys and recorded deed and moves into their new home. Escrow pays seller and records deed with county recorder's office. The consequences of not using a property purchase agreement. You and the other party to the deal will not clearly understand your rights, potential risks, and any economic ramifications of those potential risks if you don't have a real estate purchase agreement. Negotiating the scope of each party's liability and enforcing your legal rights will be much more difficult without an agreement. A simple one could help prevent some of these consequences. Seller-buyer. Lost time. Appearing in court to clarify ownership and title. Moreover, lawsuits to get the entire purchase price. Challenging to clear your name. Moreover, contingencies not met before closing. Lost money. Unexpected gift of property, seller did not have legal title. Liable for fees and breaches.